start. All right, ladies. Well, we are here this evening to talk to you all about organization. So I'm really excited about this call. This is one of my favorite ones. And apparently I'm getting better at it. I must say that organization is actually one of my weaknesses, but funny thing happened to me the other day, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but my niece is getting married in September. And I get this message from her on Facebook. She says, Marika, I need to ask you something very important. And I'm like, okay. And so her next thing is, since you're the most organized person I know, and you know this is bad, right? And I'm thinking,
no pressure there.
If she thinks I'm organized, I'm in trouble. She said, since you're the most organized person I know, I need someone that can do a really good job of directing my wedding and the rehearsal dinner. Will you do it? And I'm like, no, that's the hardest job in a wedding. You can't say no, right? So guess what I'm doing in September.
Yeah. You can't say no to that, but that does not sound like a good time.
No, I'm not excited. I was really excited about the wedding, but I mean, I'm happy to do it for her. But that being said, I don't think I'm good at organization. I think it's my biggest struggle, but apparently we've done a really good job of faking it.
Right? You're really good. That's all that matters.
So we're going to talk to you all about organization this evening. Beth and I have really worked a lot on systems and organization for years now. Golly, probably more than 5 years now, right, Beth?
It's really been a long time. Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
It is, and we've really nailed some of it. We still have work to do, but some of it's pretty solid.
I agree. Some of it is definitely really solid. So we're going to talk about time management and organization tonight. We're still perfecting, right? And, even though we have the best laid plans, sometimes we fall off the wagon, but we do have plans. So I'll get started, and I'm going to do some of the first part, and then Beth is going to do some of the later parts, and we'll jump in and help each other out as we go. So habits in your business. It is really important to create good habits. 40% of the actions people perform each day weren't actually decisions, but habits. Habits take an idea and convert it into results. Direct sales systems are the way to operate your business in an efficient, systematic way, allowing you to follow the same process each time. Discover what to do, why you do it, and exactly how quickly in each step-by-step process is the easiest way to duplicate. So if you just continue to do those same things over and over again in a systematic way, it becomes a habit, and your business runs more efficiently and easily. And you know exactly what's coming next. So with every single party, with every single hostess, with every single training, every single week, and every single month, the plan. This is the way it works. And it just makes everything so much easier, and your whole business will run much more smoothly. You guys agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I find that the stuff that I can consistently get done, like without even thinking about it, are the things that I've got a system for.
Yes.
It's the stuff that I falter on is the stuff that I don't have a solid system for yet. And so it's like, and that actually, it's cool because it makes it really easy to see where your business is lacking and where you can improve, because some of these things, it's like I don't even have to think about it. Monday I do postcards, like it's duh, that always happens. Like it's not even, I don't even have to like put a lot of effort into it. It's just like on autopilot at this point.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think we talked the other day about a couple of things we don't have systems for, and creating those things, because we realize that the systems truly do make our business run easier. So let's first talk a little bit about calendar and getting your calendar organized. I really work on this because if my calendar wasn't here, I would be completely lost. So having office hours, it's a service to you and a service to your team to have office hours. Be a service to your team, not a servant. And what that means is you don't always, and the same for your customers, you don't always have to answer every time somebody calls. If you do, you're being a servant. You're going to get texts, and we get texts in so many different places nowadays that you cannot do anything without someone being able to get in touch with you. And it's okay to turn off your business hours and to spend time with your family and to answer that message later. So set some office hours for your business. You can let your customers know, if you message me after 9 o'clock, I'm not going to be answering you till the next day. Or on the weekends. I don't work very much on the weekends, and most of my consultants and my customers know that. If you message me on Friday, you might hear back from me, but you might not hear back from me until Monday morning. And it's okay, because my family time is my weekend. So as long as people are aware of what your business hours are, they'll be respectful of them. And then you are being a service and not a servant. Communicate those hours to everyone, your family as well, so your family knows when you're working and when you're not working. My family knows the second and fourth Mondays I have training calls now. So we went out to dinner early tonight. We made sure we got down here to North Carolina because I had a training at 9 o'clock. And so it wasn't even a question. Everybody knew it. It's taken a while to get to that point, but once the system gets in place, people know. Minimize your distractions. Do one thing at a time. And I am probably the world's worst at this. I like to be a multitasker, but as I'm trying to teach my son, sometimes you have to put the video games down, the other things aside, and focus on one thing at a time, and you'll actually get more completed. People talk about the things about being a multitasker and how I'm a multitasker, but in the end, you're getting a little bit of everything done, and you're not getting anything done well. So,
yeah, I don't know, I feel like I've shared this quote before. Multitasking is the art of doing many things badly all at the same time. I think that's so true. That is the reason behind to-do lists is if it's in your head, get it on paper and you'll get to it, but don't try and get to it right this second just because it happened to pop into your head. Because if you're in the middle of something else, you're not doing yourself any favors by dropping everything.
That is right.
Do you ladies see that, like, nowadays multitasking is not looked upon as favorably as it was in the past? It's like a few years ago, we were expected to multitask at every single thing we did. Otherwise, we were seen as less than efficient. But what I'm seeing, the trend now is do it and do it well, then move on to the next thing. Because just like you said, there's, you cannot do 10 things all at the same time and do any of them well.
Yeah,
Beth, you said that perfectly. And that's, I think the trend is moving away from that. And I'm very glad of it because I've never been a person who could multitask and get anything done.
Well, I think it really is because what was happening is that people were trying to do all of these things and nothing was getting done, or if it was getting done, it wasn't done right. There were mistakes and errors. So we've learned that, make your lists, do one thing at a time and do it well. And that includes the people that are messaging you while you're trying to get other things done. I turn off notifications sometimes. I turn off the ringer on my phone so that I can focus on one thing, finish that, and then I set a time for answering messages. And you can answer all of those messages at one time, just like we used to do when we would check our email. You check your email when you have time, and you answer all of those, and then you move on to the next thing. We can do the same thing with those text messages, those private messages, those messages on Facebook. You can set a time to answer them and answer them all at the same time. Just because it came in right this second doesn't mean you have to drop everything you're doing and answer it right this second.
Yep, exactly. And I'm looking to see, I can't remember if we talk about this in this call or not, but I use something that I refer to as the 30-minute day, which I know I've told some of you about before, but that's basically I'll set the timer on my phone for 30 minutes, and for 30 minutes I focus specifically on a business task. Maybe it's creating some graphics, maybe it's writing a blog post, whatever it is. When the timer goes off, I stop and I reset the timer for 30 minutes, and I work from home. So for the next 30 minutes, I focus on something that has to be done at home, like folding laundry or making the meal plan for the week or writing out the grocery list or whatever home tasks have been like plaguing me. And then when that timer goes off, I set it again, and that's my 30-minute break. And so when I'm feeling really, really overwhelmed, I do those 30-minute days, and I just cycle through those 30-minute sections all day long. And I am like never more productive as I am on a 30-minute day. It's amazing.
See that?
Yeah, I love that. That is a fantastic plan, and I don't think that you have. We do share that on this call, so I'm glad.
No, we don't. I just did a blog post about it for Successfully Social last week, I think, or maybe the week before. So if you go to successfullysocial.blogspot.com, you can see like a breakdown of exactly how I organize my 30-minute days if you guys are interested.
That's awesome. So I am going to go read the blog post most definitely, because I could probably use 30-minute days quite often. So stress is a perceived lack of control of a situation, and it is absolutely true. When we think we don't have things in control, we become more and more stressed. So creating a consistent schedule and using it will actually relieve your stress and make you feel more productive. So establish daily, weekly, and monthly routines. Daily, check your email, check your messages, make necessary phone calls or texts to customers and hostesses and your team. Check your email for your downline twice a day. Respond back. Now this says email, but we know it's not just email anymore. It's text messages, private messages, Facebook messages. Check those twice a day whenever you're checking messages, and then move forward. Don't read an email that you aren't ready to deal with. Don't read a text message or a private message that you're not ready to deal with. Leave it closed so that you know that it's one that you need to answer. Or mark it unread if you do read it, so that you remind yourself to go back. Facebook is one of the worst places with the private messages because once you've read it, it is very hard to go back to it. They have changed it now. You can mark a Facebook message unread. So if you click on it, hold your finger on it, it'll pop up and say mark unread. You can mark it unread. So that is a really nice new feature. One of the things that I do with my text messages, because you cannot mark some of them unread, is I will actually type a couple of letters in it so it pops up as draft on the top of my phone, so that I know that I need to go back and respond to that later.
That doesn't work in iPhone though.
So you actually send yourself a message, don't you, Beth?
I do. Like Mariken was saying, she works out and about a lot. She's got her to-do list and her calendar and such with her. My to-do list and my calendar, I use the one, from 31, like a lot of us have. That lives in my office. I don't take it with me. So if I'm out and about and I come up with tasks that I need to do or messages I need to respond to, I will actually email myself. And my subject of all of those emails is add to-do list every single time. And then in the body of the message, I'll put what the to-dos are. And the reason for that is then I can sort by that subject line when I'm back at my desk and see everything that throughout the course of however long I've been out of my office has popped into my head that needs to get written on my task list. And then I can just delete the emails after I've written them down. So that's my system, and it works really well for me because I forget things. Like literally, if I don't instantly put it somewhere, I'm going to forget that I had plans to call Mariken back or whatever it was.
Well, and another new feature, I don't know if you all have seen this yet. I'm going to try to see if you can. You'll have to tell me. But do you see it looks like a little bug right here? This is Blink. This is Blink. And this is a new feature that's been added to our Facebook private messenger. It's a reminder. And you can actually tell Blink the things that you need to remember, and then you can set for when you want it to remind you. And I have been using this for a few weeks now. And so earlier I got a message that I needed to send something. So I typed it in on here, and you can't see it, but it says number 4 on my list for Blink to remind me is what was sent to me. So it actually sends me a private message 4 times a day to remind me of anything that I've added to my Blink list. So check that out too. That's another new thing. It hasn't been out very long. I'm really loving it because it keeps everything together. And then when I complete it, all I do is type in the number and it takes it right off the list and it doesn't remind me of it anymore. So that was pretty cool. Had you seen that one, Beth?
No, I haven't used that.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you get it to pop up, Marican?
Actually, it came up one day as something for me to try, and I was like, okay, well, I'll try it. So if you just type in Blink, it will pop up to where you'll find it because it's on everyone's. So if you just type it in the search at the top on your private message on Messenger, type in Blink, it should come up.
Blink.
Did it pop up?
It did. I don't know if this is.
Does it look like a bumblebee?
No, this looks like something different. I don't know if you can see it or not. Mine looks like this. Is that what it looks like, Marican?
Yep, that's it.
So that is it? Okay.
Yep, that's it. Hi.
Hey, Grayson.
He's bringing me a drink. So weekly, I actually have a weekly schedule. Monday nights are training nights. We do our backstage pass calls on the second and fourth Monday nights, and our motivate and make it happen. I also do other training calls with other team members on Monday nights as well. So I try to keep Monday night as a training night. Even when I have Celebrate and Connect or Better Togethers, they're on Monday nights. So for me, that is a consistent thing that I do. Monthly, Better Together meetings, my team newsletter, hostess packets and lead packets, document and file receipts. All of those are things that I do monthly, and I have those set aside on my calendar at specific times to do each month.
That's good.
You waste time.
Mm-hmm.
Determine where your time is being wasted. So use a daily tracker for a little while and actually write down everything that you're doing throughout the day and see where the time gets wasted. And this will help you to figure out what is stealing your time. I love to call them time stealers. Facebook is my biggest time stealer. So find out where you're wasting your time. Are you stopping in the middle of doing something to answer messages, to answer emails that pop up? Are you getting on Facebook for just a minute and finding yourself there for 3 hours and later being like, or do you go search for something on the internet and then get distracted by something else and then 15 minutes later you realize, oh my gosh, I was working on this, and maybe you come back or maybe you don't. Some of the biggest time stealers are TV, email, telephone, texting, Facebook, and internet surfing. So check it out and see where you find your time stealers are. Time builders. Make the most of the time you have. Work smarter, not harder. Group similar tasks together. So if you're going to be working on hostess packets, work on hostess packets, work on labeling catalogs, work on putting together recruiting packets, do all of that at the same time. They're similar. And don't just do enough for one party. Do enough for the entire month. Do it all at one time for the entire month and have it together. I do my hostess packets 10 to 15 at a time, and I keep them in a file folder. And when I get down to where I only have 3 left, we make 15 more. My son actually helps me with that. I label every catalog when it comes in immediately, and I keep them all in a big box so they're all labeled and ready to go. And doing all of those things together instead of as you need it actually saves a ton of time. Mm-hmm. Welcome and lead emails. Save them in your draft. So I actually have a text message that is saved in my phone for sending a welcome message out to new consultants when they join. I actually do a little video now for them. And then have another message that's saved in my phone that I text out to people when I get a home office lead. So it's in there. I actually have it saved. I actually texted myself. So I can go to my own name and find the text under my text, and then I can resend it. So keeping that, you don't have to type the same thing every time. I mean, you don't have to retype it every time. You can use the same message. There's nothing wrong with that. The person you're sending it to has no idea that you sent the same message to the last person, because they're never going to talk to them. So save yourself some time, save a draft, and resend it. Finish one task before starting another. We've talked about that. Focus on one thing at a time. Schedule phone time and text time. Never answer the phone or answer a text while you're in the middle of something else. Use cancellations. If someone cancels a call with you, don't say, oh goodness, this is time for me to play on Facebook. Say, okay, this is the next thing on my to-do list. I have an extra 30 minutes. I'm going to get that done now. And you'll be amazed at how that can make you so much more productive. Schedule an hour a day to work on your business. Focus on your business for 1 hour every single day. You can set it at the same time every day so that your family knows what you're going to be doing, or you can work it into your schedule where it fits. Make multiple copies at once. So when we make copies of anything, we make enough for a month so that we have a whole month's worth and only have to do it one time. So my son helps me with my hostess packets, and some of those things we make copies for. And so he'll say, Mommy, I have 5 left. Okay, I'm making 20 copies for you right now. He goes and gets them off the printer and puts them in the file folder so they're there for next time he needs them. So making 1 copy at a time is not productive. Takes the same amount of time to go get and to print 20 as it does to print 1 and go get it.
True.
Get help. Do what I do. Hire a kid. You can hire a teenage daughter. You can hire a teenage son. You can hire someone that works down the road. Before my son was old enough, I had a high school student that came once every 2 weeks and did all of the stuff that was, busy work is, I guess, what I like to call it. She helped pack orders for me. She did labels. She did mailing. She does all the things that my son does for me now. Those are things that have to be done, that anybody can do them. I like to focus on things that are money-making activities, things that are going to bring me more income, and let someone else, like my son, do the things that just have to get done and are easy.
Yeah.
The planner system.
The planner.
Get a planner. If you don't already have one, get one. There are lots of different ones out there. We actually have a fabulous, gorgeous, amazing 31 planner. And they did an absolutely incredible job putting this together. Yeah. And we are using this partially for our bullet journals and things like that. I believe, Beth, you're using it full-time for your bullet journal.
I use it for my bullet journal. I have a separate notebook that I use to take call notes and stuff in and write my lists of who's getting Happy Mail, who are in button incentive, all that kind of stuff, or, my blog post ideas, that sort of thing. But my bullet journal is completely in the 31 planner. It's in the week view because I can write stuff under whatever day. I don't know if you guys can see this, but that's
I love it
for that first half of whatever week this is that I'm looking at, beginning of April. And then what I do is up in the little bar at the top, you can't see it on the purple at all, but I'll put a little check mark when everything on that day is done. And then in the top corner, I'll put a check mark if the whole week is completed, because then I know I can flip past it quick and I didn't miss any tasks. As there are times when stuff, might not get done last Monday, so it still needs to kind of roll forward to this week, but I don't really want to rewrite it because my days fill up sometimes a lot on these pages, so I don't want to have to write it a second time if I don't need to. But this way I know that something's not done, I need to go back to it.
Absolutely. And I am working on that. But for me, Beth leaves everything at her desk. Mine travels with me, and this is pretty big to carry around all the time. So I am using this for my hostesses to write down their things. And then anything that is something that I do every single month gets written on the days in my monthly calendar. So anything that I'm going to do every single month consistently, I am putting in here so that when I am in my office, I can work on those things. I still do use my bullet journal for daily things, and it travels with me. So I have the front of my bullet journal has my key in it. And I actually found a notebook that is actually one where I can move pages around, which I love that I can pick them up and move them. If it's something that is going to be continuing for a long period of time, here's my pens. And then here's my list of websites that I'm going to be using. Here is information about debt. Here is my hostess of the month. My VIP customer club is in here. And then as you get further back in here, that's the table of contents section, I have my daily tasks. And so I carry this with me so that I can do my brain dump. And I typically do mine a week at a time. So my entire brain dump for the week of last week is here. And then as they're completed, I mark them off. Once you get it out of your head, it makes it a whole lot easier for you to focus on other things. So it doesn't matter where you do it, but have some place where you can write down the important things. Color coding your calendar. And this is something that is tremendous for me. I do keep all of my appointments and things that are scheduled that I am going to have to be at, whether it is physically get in my car and drive there or be on the computer or on my phone for, they get scheduled into my Google Calendar because I need reminders so that I don't forget. So all of my stuff, see if y'all can see this, is color-coded on my Google Calendar in blocks of time. And so part of the color coding plan goes like this. So red is scheduled family time. Green is for money-making activities, all those parties. And you can see down here at the bottom, I got parties right there. They're green. Parties tomorrow night and party on Wednesday night. So keep them in green because I know that I'm going to stick to them, and those are the days I do my parties. Blue or black are for jobs outside of 31. Purple are for my team training and mentoring. So tonight, the purple down here at the bottom on mine is for our call that we're doing right now. Pink for me is business building activities, hostess calls, follow-up calls, my power hour. Orange is for travel and trips. Yellow is for miscellaneous and things like that. And for me also, I have brown. That is my husband's band. So I know that anything that's in brown is for his band. So you can do your color coding however works for you. And one of the neat things that I like about Google Calendar is it allows you to import other people's calendars into yours. So I don't know if you can see, you can't, but there are imported calendars on here. So like Beth and I have a calendar. If she sends me something, it imports onto my calendar. And my husband's wound tight calendar in his personal calendar import into my calendar. So it allows me to see what other people are doing as well and still see it on my calendar color coded whenever I need to see it. So don't try to make your schedule look as busy as possible. That's not the goal. And that's one of the reasons that I keep a paper calendar for my customers to see, because mine kind of does look crazy, but I keep everything on my calendar so that I don't forget, because it's the way that I stay in control. But for my customers, I want them to see something clear, simple, and clean. And so I give them a blank calendar, and the days that I'm open for party are circled. And then they just write their information on here because they don't need to know everything else that's going on in my world. Let's see. To-do lists. Oh, yes. Beth, you are probably better at this than me now. Would you like to share about to-do lists?
Oh, I love to-do lists. And I was a digital girl for a long time with to-do lists. And if you're digital with them, that's great if that's working for you. For me, there's something about being able to like exit out on paper that makes me feel like I've accomplished more than just deleting it off a list. So I have switched, like I said, I'm using the week view in our calendar system from 31. And I'm a little bit anal. We were showing you the pens earlier. These are erasable gel pens. They might be the best thing on the whole planet. I'm super addicted.
And completely, you can't even tell they've ever been written after you erase them.
It's fabulous, but don't ever leave this like sitting in your car like this because it'll erase your pages. The sunlight, the heat, which I didn't know. Like, don't ever, when you're mailing something, don't ever write it in the erasable gel pens. It's a good chance it's stuck anywhere. Found that out the hard way. Anyway, but they are the best thing ever. I do my calendar, my to-do list, my notes My inventory, everything is done with these pens now. It's the only thing I write with. But I am very, very, very anal about what color I write in for each thing. So all my tasks are always purple. Notes to myself are always teal. My index is red. My inventory is color coded based on whether it's a purse, a tote, a thermal, or an organizing product. I am very, 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 very specific. My titles are a different color than my notes. Like, it's very, very specific. So I can tell at a glance, I'm just kind of flipping through this, what's happening based on the color it is. It's very similar to color coding your calendar, which my calendar is digital as well. I use this strictly for tasks. I don't have appointments or anything. I don't show this to my hostesses. They say they want a Friday. I tell them what Fridays I got. That's basically how I do my bookings. So I work a little bit differently than Marican in that regard.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It all works.
Yeah, whatever works for you. So mine does, because I do work from home and I'm a busy wife and mama and sports child hauler and 31 girl and successfully social guru and all that, everything, anything that's happening in my life that needs to get done is going to get written in here, whether it's make a vet appointment, order dog food, write a 31 call, like whatever it is. It's all going in here and it's all mixed together because it's all just part of my life. So I don't see any reason to have separate lists. I know some people prefer to have like the work list and the home list. That doesn't work for me. I want everything all in one place because the more places I'm diversifying to, the more likely it is something is going to fall off the plate altogether and just not get done. So everything lives here. The people I need to speak to, the calls I need to make, all that stuff. And you want to be looking ahead. That's one of the things I really like about this calendar and the fact that we have so much space to write, because there are times, when I'm wanting to write my engagement post, for example, for my customer group, I know they need to get done for May before the end of April. But at the beginning of April, I don't need to sit down and do them necessarily on the 3rd, so I can write those ahead for like May 24th, work on engagement posts. And then once I cross that off, I know they're done. They're scheduled, they're everything. It doesn't get taken off the list until the task is 100% complete, meaning it's been scheduled onto Facebook, it's been written on. I've got these calendars on the back where I just manage my social media and track what's being posted where on what day. And I've got little those little cute mini post-it page flags in all different colors, and each one is a different social media channel. So I've got calendars that are specific to that, because that in here would just be clutter. I don't need all that in here. I need to be able to see at a glance that something's happening in these different places for my social media all the time, whether it's the blog or the fan page or whatever. So this is a system that has evolved over a long stretch of time for me. It might sound like a whole lot to those of you that are not doing all this craziness, but figure out what's working for you. Figure out what's lacking for you. Where are you not succeeding as far as your organization? And how can you take like itty bitty bits of these tips, even if it's not the whole tip, what can you take from it to implement into your world that's going to make sense for you?
Absolutely.
You absolutely don't need to do everything Marika and I are doing. And we're not saying that we're right. We're just saying this is what's working for us now. And her and I are very different too.
Because she works from her desk all the time and I work on the go. And so we have learned that we have similar systems, but her system does not work for me. We use similar things like this kind of thing. This is my key for my to-do list for the day. I know by looking at mine, not because of color coding, but because of what symbol is written in front of it. So the symbol in front of it tells me what I'm doing. If it's square, it's a task. If it's a circle, it's an event. If it's a triangle, it's a phone call. If it has an exclamation point, then that's research. If it's just a dot, it's a note. If it's got a star, it's priority. When they're filled in, they're finished. If they're half filled, it's half done. If it's got an arrow, I moved it forward. So that is my system. And that works really well for me, and it's quick for me to see at a glance. And I keep that in this little notebook, which fits in my purse. Even fits in my little purse.
Nothing fits in that little purse. I'm sorry.
Oh, you would be amazed. I have a swap it pocket in it, so organized. It's amazing.
It's too small for me. Seriously, by the time I throw a pen in there, I'm like, all right, it's full. I can't do anything with this. Ridiculous.
You wouldn't be happy with mine. Everything's in a little section, and I can even pull the Benjamins out. But the binder system. This is another type of system that people use. I do use a business binder, and any of you all that have seen me out will know that I do, and this travels with me as well. This is my binder system for my business and my training. This is my binder system for my parties. And I had to separate them because this was too big to carry. And my customers didn't need to see all of that other stuff. They only needed a catalog. So this has catalogs, order forms, anything I need for a party, I grab this and take it into a party with me. Inside of here, I have got an entire catalog. So here is the catalog. Here are all of the monthly specials, a copy of some order forms because I always need order forms. And then the next section, I have got the current monthly special here. These are my folders that I keep each order in. So each hostess for the month has a zipped folder. The orders go inside the folders. So there's one for every single party I have this month in here. The next thing is my VIP customer club. All of my contracts for my VIPs are in here. And anything I need to deal with that, even extra copies to give for my VIPs. And then here are next month's specials. So they're in here for me to be able to grab. This is my party presentation section. Anything I'm going to need for party presentation is here. This is my party closing section. These are the things that I need to close a party. And then I have a back section which has labels for my VIPs and business labels for me if I need to mail anything. So all of that is in here. And then I have baby line because people keep asking for it, copies of the baby line in the back. So this right here has everything I need to do a party, to take care of anything to do with my parties. So that is my party binder. Then I have my business binder, which has my team information, my personal information, my systems, all of my notes from meetings and things like that in here. So the very first thing is a copy of my schedule, along with some little Post-it notes. The next part is all of my systems. The next, I have my team information. This is where I keep copies of my top sellers, my Zoom calls, my newsletters, anything that is celebrating my team goes right here so that I can quickly at a glance check back into that. The next section is for all of my new consultants that are within their 120 days. I have a page on each of them so that when I talk to them, I can check in with them. I can make sure that I have shared with them everything that I need. My next section here is my leaders. So I've got career path information and my notes from calls with different leaders. Sometimes they get printed off, sometimes they get added. And then in the back is where I keep my business notes. When I have meetings that I'm writing them down, I have a table of contents here, and I've numbered the pages so that I can easily find and track them. So this is my business plan that travels with me. So it's my binder system. There's another binder system out there for contacts that some of you might be interested in. You actually take a binder and you put 30 tabs in it along with a calendar section. And what you do is you have January through December, and you put the 30 days in whichever month you are in. And then you are going to take the information. If you need to follow up with someone in December, then you put a page in December with that person's name on to follow up and the date. Stick it in December, and then when you get to December, you put the 30-day section in there, and you put hers in on the day that it goes on. And those 1 through 30 get moved through each month, depending on where you're at. And it lets you be able to follow through that way. A lot of people love that system, and it works very well for them. For me, the day I need to follow up with someone gets put as a reminder on my calendar, pops up as a reminder, contact so-and-so today, so that I'll remember to contact them. How do you remember, Beth, when someone says, hey, I want to do a party in March, let me know in March?
I'll just make a little note down in the note section of whatever week that, hey, follow up with Kelly about a party. Or I'll put it on my digital calendar on the first day of the month
To remind you.
as an appointment to myself, basically, to follow up with Kelly. Ladies, if you're looking at the binders and going, oh my holy crap, yeah, that's how I feel about all the binders. It gives me anxiety. I don't do any of them. Seriously, like my heart rate's like rising as she's saying all this. I tried so hard to embrace the binder because you see, like, seriously, there's a lot of leaders who are using these various binder systems and they all like intellectually make so much sense. But no, my brain, no, it's not working for me. I'm a tiny bit too free spirited to have everything quite that planed out. And Marikan will tell you she is considerably more like OCD than me as far as that stuff goes. She needs that whole list. I'm a little more like easy breezy, fly by the seat of my pants kind of thing. So I literally threw out binders because I tried and it was not working. So evolve the systems to what works for you.
Use what works for you. Can you be productive in your office? Busy tears you down while productive builds you up. So Beth is going to talk to you about the office.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I'm going to talk to you about the office, and I think I get to talk to you about email and files because these are my passion subjects, you guys, seriously. Y'all are I'm going to ask you a question, and some of you guys are going to give me anxiety again with your answers. I guarantee it. Okay. So whether or not you have a dedicated office space, or whether you're working off your dining room table, or whether you're pulling a large utility tote with fold-in files out and sitting on your couch, however you're working, you need to know exactly where you can find all of your stuff. Because if you're spending time searching for your hostess flyers and for your labels for your catalog and for all this stuff every time you sit down to go do things, you are wasting so much time. So please, please, please put it on your calendar to set aside an hour to get yourself organized. Before you even start working, before you even start trying to implement anything new, make sure that you are organized and you know where to find everything. I am lucky enough to have a dedicated office space. This is my girly room. You guys can see some of my stuff behind me. This is all 31. This is like my version of a man cave. It's got everything I need in it. And I've got a whole system in the closet that's got organization of all my folders and my mailing supplies and everything, catalogs, everything I would need to do anything. And I could tell you like in a split second where to find it all. So if you don't have that system, that level of organization, you need to put that in place. Even if you're living out of a large utility tote, as far as your business goes, you need to have something in place for that. All right, we're talking email now. Okay, guys, I realize email is like 90% spam at this point. Do yourself a favor, number one, and unsub from some of those spam messages. You will thank me later. It's a pain in the butt to do. It'll take you like an hour, but literally go through your junk folder and unsub. Just spend an hour doing it. I did it, and I'm getting so much less, and it's like it makes me smile like you don't even know. Secondly, with email, if you are somebody that has, raise your hands, those of you that are on camera, if you are somebody that has like 12,000 emails in your inbox, raise your hands. No? You guys aren't giving me heart palpitations. I love it. I used to, Marikan, yeah, you make me want to cry a little bit.
Yeah.
It's bad. Okay. I used to teach this in my networking group, and there was literally somebody that had 32,000 unread messages in their inbox. And I was like, oh my God, I want to just erase your whole phone just to make that go away. Like, that's not okay. Whether they're unread, whether they're read, whatever it is, it's not okay. Don't do it. You need subfolders. I am the biggest proponent of subfolders on the planet. I have about a bajillion of them, but I can put my fingers on any email, business or personal, in like 10 seconds flat because it's filed in a manner that makes complete sense to me and is enabling me to find anything I need. I'm not going to go over my whole system. I actually have a printout of my whole system. If you guys want it, I'm happy to share it. But the most important ones you're going to create first off If you are using the same email account for your business email, your 31 email, and your personal, which I am, you're going to need to have business email folders and personal email folders, right? So the majority of email that I keep is business related, so I've got more business email folders than personal. But the most important ones I want you to create is I want you to create a folder that's called 31 monthly folders. That's going to be a subfolder right under your inbox. Okay, and then under that subfolder called 31 monthly folders, you're going to create 12 subfolders under that subfolder. A, January, B, February, all the way down through all the months of the year. And under each of those, every time you have a party scheduled, a vendor event scheduled, something that you're going to have correspondence back and forth with, that's going to get its own subfolder under that month. And that's where you're going to put all those party orders, all those emails from the hostess are going to go into May, Kelly, May 26th, whatever her party date is. That's going to be in your folder, and all that correspondence is going to go in there, and you will never, ever, ever have to search for an email again, because as soon as you read it, respond to it, do whatever you have to do to it, you're going to stick it in that email folder. And it will always, always, always be there until you decide to delete. It is the best thing ever. Trust me when I tell you, you want to do this for yourself. It is fabulous. Like I said, I'll give you the list. I've got a crap ton of other folders that will change your life, but that is the big one. If you can create yourself those little section of calendar folders, it's going to be amazing. You're going to love it. Okay. My dog is doing something. I don't know what. Okay. So the other thing is anything that you get a ton of emails on needs its own folder. So if you get a ton of emails in relation to your pets, they're going to need their own folder, because if you're saving vet information, stuff that you've got from Chewy.com with your order history, all that kind of stuff, anything where you're getting a lot of emails that you want to keep for whatever reason, it deserves its own folder. It shouldn't live in your inbox. It makes it so much harder to find anything. And even on the iPhone, if you've only got it storing 30 days of emails, if you search within that subfolder, you can still find emails back 2 years ago or whatever. So it totally, totally works. And then basically, and I can give you a printout on this as well. I don't even know if this is the next slide, but well, not really, but I'm going to talk file system on your computer, because that is my other hot button passion issue. You guys, I live off my computer. I do a ton of work on my laptop. I'm always on it, more so than I am on my phone even. I do all my design work, writing, Facebook parties, everything is all done on my computer. And I am really ridiculously organized with how I have my file structures. I've got my 31 documents folder, my personal documents folder, my images folder, and then breakdowns underneath all those subfolders, underneath all that. So under the 31 folder, you're going to see folders like marketing, new consultants, welcome packets, potential consultant packets, hostess packet, guest packet, and anything I need to find is going to be sorted into those little subfiles. So whenever I need to go make more hostess packets, for example, I have very, very, very specific stuff I stick in every one of my hostess packets, and some of it I do need to print myself, right? So some of it's off of TOT, some of it I'm printing, I've created myself and I'm printing it. I can go to that, and I've saved all the TOT files for the season into that hostess packet folder. I've got all my personal files that I've created saved into that hostess packet folder. And then I can see at a glance, okay, here's the 7 things I need to print. I'm going to print 10 copies of them, just like Marika was saying earlier. And I've got, file folders to stick them in, the extra however many copies. And I can make my hostess packet super, super simple, because everything's all in one place. I'm not searching for it. I'm not going back to TOT to hunt something down every single time I need to make hostess packets, because there's a file for it on my computer. So I would strongly encourage you to do that. Marika and I have a really detailed file folder system for our BackStage Pass stuff. We have that on Dropbox, so she and I can both access it. But it's very detailed. You can spell it out as much as you need to in your folder name so that you can find what you're looking for again. And when it's a case of if you're sharing files with somebody else, it needs to make sense to both of you. Marika and I think very differently, so we have to label our files, our folders, very specifically. so that it doesn't just make sense in my head or just make sense in her head. And like I do all of our graphics for the most part for any of the stuff that we do. And I'll have the Photoshop files, and in every single Photoshop file, I have in capital letters, do not delete as part of the file name. Just so Marican doesn't accidentally delete my originals in case I want to edit them at some point in the future. So it just makes me laugh. And she's like, I saw your do not delete. I'm not going to delete it. I'm like, okay, thank you. It took me a long time. Don't kill it. So just the more organized you can be with your files, with your folders, with your physical papers, the stuff that you want to keep. I keep all the back copies of the order forms of all my customers. I don't really know why I do. It's come in handy a few times that I've been able to find stuff. But I keep them, and I personally file by first name because that makes more sense to me. Some people file by party. To me, I don't like that because there's so much overlap. Like Vivian might have bought at Kelly's party, and she might also have bought at Amanda's party. And so where am I looking for that particular order from Vivian? Is it Kelly or is it Amanda? So I keep them by first name of customer because then I can put my hands on Vivian really quick and see, okay, here's her 10 different order forms. What was I looking for? I keep all the CNC meeting information from previous meetings. I've got, oh my gosh, dating back to, I don't even know how long, 2011? No, 2010, I guess, is when we started that CNC meeting. So I've got literally a folder for every single meeting that I've run all the way back to 2010, which maybe that's a little ridiculous. Maybe those could go. I don't know. If I run out of room in my file drawer, that might be the first thing to go, quite frankly. But figure out what you need to be able to lay your hands on and make sure you've got a place to put it and an easy way to do that. Okay, what else am I missing, Marican? I'm like skipping around on you, sorry. Let's see. Yes, call to action. Take action. Marican, you're muted. Are you trying to speak to us? She's going like this. I think she's talking, but we can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Awesome. Yes.
What is this?
You did great. Those last two things were out of order, so I flipped them around as you were talking. So, which is no big deal. But so our call to action, we realize we just told you a ton of stuff, and we also told it to you in two different ways: the way I do it and the way Beth does it, because we want you to understand that it doesn't matter how you do it. You need to do it the way that is going to make sense to you. But the whole point here is do it. So pick one area that we discussed tonight and start taking an action. One area that you want to make a difference in, one area that you want to organize. Do one at a time. What do you think will help you the most in the business? What did you learn tonight? Where do you want to start? Now set a time frame in which you want to get it done and get started. All right. Yeah. Do y'all have questions for us?
Maggie messaged me that she needs my organization system. So I will definitely get that out to you guys. I will.
And we do have copies of those BackStage pass files already, Beth. We just can post those from where we had put them together for them. So we already have copies of quite a bit of this for you all that we can post to the files of the lineage pages so that you'll be able to find them.
Yay.
Yay. Any questions, ladies? I know, Chris, you're muted. Kathy, you're muted. If you have a question, Maggie, you can also ask it in the comments if you don't want to unmute. And if you have no questions, we thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Great ideas.
Thank you.
Awesome. We look forward to hearing what you guys implement.
Yes. Message us and let us know.
All right.
Good night, ladies. Have a blessed day.
Bye, guys.